a lot of times I sabotage myself because it was like, and we've discussed this. What are you giggling about now?
All your problems.
A lot. I sabotage myself.
Right.
Because we discussed this. We replace the schmucks that are beating up on us when they're not around.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
And then, of course, we befriend those who giggle at our pain.
Right. Absolutely. It's like you can't get a break.
There's just you. It's just me, Phil. And you know what? That's good enough.
All right, I want to welcome everyone now. Today's topic is a tough one. It's about abuse, but first I want to thank Johnny Watson for coming on. Yes, I told you we would start laughing about it because we've been through it and we're going to make fun of it. So we're not making fun of yours. We're making fun of ours. Johnny, first I want to thank you for coming on because I know last time you were highly offended that I didn't immediately do that. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Glad to be noticed.
Yes. And by the way, thank you for cleaning up your room. I know someone made a comment to me about your room the last time. Yeah. And I know you'd be proud of me. I used your stage 4 cancer to shut that conversation down.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I said, he's fighting stage 4 cancer. My buddy stopped dead silent. I'm like, dude, be quiet.
Right.
He jumped on the podcast quickly. So
right,
thank you.
Exactly.
You cleaned up your room now. He'll be happy.
Right.
And anybody else who wanted you to declutter will be happy.
Well, you know, this is my podcast studio. So never said I was neat.
Yes. And also maybe you should tell them the truth. It's also your laundry room. All right. So
yes, it is. It is everything. It's my everything room, my studio apartment.
Yeah. So now look, it is a tough topic, but look, we've been through it.
Right.
I've watched abuse destroy people and I've watched people not succumb to it, to get through it. So what I'd like to do is just give a little understanding of what I've seen. And then maybe you can jump in and give some of your intake or your take, on it. You know, I watch too many people succumb to it because what happens a lot of times is the loved one that does it to us isn't supposed to. So there's that loved one that is supposed to be this nurturing person.
Right.
And they're not only berating you verbally, but in our instances, we were getting the hell kicked out of us on a daily basis from a young age. And look, I'm not going to make excuses for the perpetrators, but in my instance, I'm going to recognize that that individual came back into our life many years later, recognized what he had done wrong in his limited way. And also I was able to at least somewhat get from him that he was highly abused as a child. So he paid it forward. Now, look, that's not an excuse. It's reasons. Reasons aren't excuses, but at least we get that clarity, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk a little bit about what you went through and give a little insight to those that might be carrying a lot of this crap with them.
I'll tell you what's abusive right now is my hair.
Yeah. Well, your hairdresser, your barber, or your comb is an abuser.
I tell you, that's what feels like going on. I feel like I'm freezing here. I feel all this bringing me back to childhood.
Yeah.
When I was left in the closet.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is when you grew to be an adult, you came out of the closet. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I was thrown in the closet and then I had to come out of the closet.
Well, you know what? Start with that, actually. I think I remember you telling me a story about the closet.
I think the people are getting a bad, well, not a bad necessarily.
No.
I mean, listen, nothing wrong with that. It's just in this case, it just doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. No, but I think there was where was it your father or your grandfather who used to do that to you?
Well, my dad, what happened was he had these girlfriends that would run in and out, and one day somebody peed in the closet, and because I was the oldest, that I got blamed for it. Like I was not blamed for it, but I was supposed to be the example of why did I let the kid do it, and then I got thrown in the closet, so I would have to. I had to stay in the closet. They closed the door on me and locked the door on me, and I was stuck in that closet for a while.
With the pee.
With the pee, yes.
That's very nice. You know what? Your father was a giving person. That was very kind of him.
Very giving. Wanted me to, get used to, because we went camping a lot and just wanted to know that what the smell would be like. Just wanted to get me used to the environment.
He wanted to know you could tough it out.
I guess.
Intestinal fortitude was what that lesson was about.
Right.
And I think you actually asked me one time, I think it was when my mom passed away in the middle of the night, and we'll get into some of how that has to do with with this thing about abuse. And correct me if I'm wrong. You asked me that night, why does it seem like so many bad things happen to us? Are we cursed? And I said, no, we're not cursed. It's just we've been surrounded by chaos our whole lives, and chaos leads to more chaos. It's
Right.
almost like a cancer that metastasized. Sorry to bring up a sore subject to you, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
almost like,
as you
could
know,
I
I'm in a
use
position.
different metaphors?
I'm sitting in a position right now where my back isn't hurting me,
Well, and that's why I
just for
wanted to
this
bring it back
podcast.
up.
Just for
Yeah,
this podcast.
yeah. But I think you asked me that if I remember correctly, and that was my response. Am I correct? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, no, I do. I remember the conversation. I remember, just wondering, like, my whole life I feel, has been a really topsy turvy
Yeah.
situation. And, like I never really had male role models in my life, because my father wasn't around, not really any male role models to kind of, that kind of, you need those
Sure.
male role models as a guy to kind of put you in that direction or just show you how to deal with things in a healthy way, in a healthy
Right.
way.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
saying everybody's healthy. I mean, there's a lot of, there is a lot of issues that were for other guys and stuff going on and girls too. But since we're
Sure. Sure.
two guys, we might as well
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
guy stuff. So
Yeah. I think it comes down to there are those of us who had the dad leave. And maybe the mom leave as well, because I'm sure it would affect them the same way. And also, we had violence. There are those of us that had violence from a young age. And for me, I finally turned to a point where I used that as an example of what not to be. And I think
Right.
you actually, we have deep conversations about the things we've been through. And look, you share as much as you want. For me, I watched a sibling not deal with it head on
Right.
like I did.
Right.
And that sibling succumbed to indulgences of all kinds, food, drink.
Sure.
And when he was younger, drugs. The indulgence kind of makes us run away. It's an escape. For me, sports, I feel kind of saved me from some of that, but I fell into it as well at a young age because you're just so angry. You become cold. You don't get to develop into a person that you want to be. You develop into the person you think you need to be. And
Right.
in my instance, at a young age, I was violent. I got real violent because I thought I needed to get violent towards him to defend me and to defend others.
Right.
But eventually I said enough's enough. But unfortunately, I had a sibling who couldn't see his way straight, and he suffered most of his life with that anger and that anguish because ours was constant. It was every day.
Right. Right. Yeah, no,
So
I don't think I really had a lot of violent tendencies. I mean, I had more mischievous tendencies,
Right.
like vandalism and stuff like that, going around doing stuff that probably wasn't necessarily at times, not even a lot of that. My thing was mostly being reclusive, like staying by
Yeah.
myself,
We shut down.
friends of mine wanted me to go do things, just, normal things. They used to call me Houdini because I'd showed up to a party and I'd leave.
Yeah.
I would just disappear, so
Yeah.
they called me Houdini because,
Yeah.
like I said, so, those type of things, I had a lot of opportunities to be in good situations, but I just never felt comfortable with it. So,
Because we don't believe we belong. And
right.
I'm going to say that to people who are suffering from this now. And I want you to understand something. I've seen family members succumb to this in their 50s, in their
Right.
60s, years later. I can guarantee you a family member had a heart attack in the middle of the night and died from the stress of living in a chaotic household. If you're feeling like you're cold, you're closed off, it's normal. It's
Right.
not normal, but it's normal with what we go through. It made me an insomniac. It
Right.
made me angry, incapable of grabbing onto nice things for many years. Whenever something nice came my way or someone who was a decent person came my way, whether it could have been a pal or someone who I could go out with and date her, or even opportunities, a lot of times I sabotaged myself because it was like, and we've discussed this. What are you giggling about now?
All your problems.
A lot. I sabotage myself
Right.
because we discussed this. We replace the schmucks that are beating up on us when they're not
Right.
around.
Sure.
And
Sure.
then of course we befriend those who giggle at our pain.
Right. Absolutely. It's like you can't get a break.
Yeah. You start feeling like you're cursed, like the world's against you, which it's not.
Right.
It's
Well,
just,
you just feel like it is. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of stuff that I've gone through, like still trying to get on track now,
yeah, sure,
still trying to get on track and,
sure.
in my age and, trying to do this. And, like with my stand up and stuff like that, you run into roadblocks. You don't feel like you can do things, you know, you just don't feel like you can do it. You don't feel like you're worthy of it.
Hmm.
And you know what the issue is. That's the whole thing. You
Yeah,
realize what it is, but you just can't, at least for me, I can't fix it. I'm trying to
yeah.
fix it. I go through therapy. I got like several therapists that I go through
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
shout out to my therapists, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Are we doing shout outs to therapists now? Is that what we're
why
doing?
not? Why not? My guy's great, and, you know,
Like, shout out to my therapist, Dr. Seuss.
yeah, that's my guy, Dr. Seuss,
Two orders
Dr.
of green eggs
Kevorkian.
and ham.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that Dr. Seuss green eggs and ham, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
I
your
got more like
prescription.
mine is more like Dr. Kevorkian. That's my guy. He's my therapist. He keeps
You
telling me
know,
to get in the van.
I think he's onto something. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's onto
Right.
something.
Well,
Look, I think part of it is the hardest thing. Everyone thinks the hardest thing is facing that you
right.
went through it. No, I think the hardest thing is being okay with it.
Right. Yeah. No, you're
You
right.
know,
You're right.
and I said to you a long time ago, two family members were my birth family was supposed to give a damn, and they
Right.
didn't. And I told you I had to realize and face and be okay with it that they didn't love me the way I tried to love them. I had to face that, but then be okay with it, which was the hardest part. But recognize, you know what? One of them was abused as a
Right.
child and paid it forward. The other one was abused right before my very eyes and
Right.
couldn't get out from under it, no matter
Sure.
how much I tried
Sure.
to help.
Mm.
So it's not, again, not an excuse. It's an acknowledgement. It's just the facts. And once you become okay with it, and not okay in the sense like, good for them.
Right.
You know
Right.
what?
Right.
My dad really had a great right hook. No,
Right. Right.
not okay with it like that, but okay with it in the sense that it's over. That's it.
Mm.
It's not going to change my life. I'm not going to let it change my life. And I'm certainly not going to pay that terrible thing forward. Instead, it ends with me.
Well, like in my case, there was a guy and my mother, we thought she didn't get remarried, but she told everybody she got remarried because, she didn't want to look, she didn't want to look bad. But this guy was really abusive. And again, because I was the oldest, I used to get like my sister's rooms wouldn't be cleaned and I would get, beaten for it.
That's
like
great.
it was my, it was my fault.
So great. Your sister
Yeah.
had to be like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And when
they
you
knew.
pissed her off, she's like, I'm not cleaning my
Yeah.
room.
Yeah. Not cleaning my room. So, so I got beaten for that. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy did, I tell you though, I remember one time he made this, what do you make? Like a whip out of, out of,
Cord,
what's that?
wire.
Yeah, the wire. Yeah, thank you.
They
Made
used to call it a
out of
switch.
Yeah,
They used
he's
to
made
call it a switch
whip out of
growing
that.
up.
And there was these two guys that were bullying me. And I used to but it's one of the funny things I did with these guys was that we used to take M80s and put them under like refrigerator boxes.
Yeah.
And I used to have a fuse and would light the fuse and tell these guys to, say some of these guys so they would start to chase us. Then they'd hit the refrigerator box and the thing would blow up on them.
So let me go back to when you said you weren't violent. You just,
I know. I didn't realize. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. There's a couple things.
You're like, I once put plastique on someone's house and blew it up.
Yes, I forgot about
really
that.
Really mischievous.
I forgot about that. I'm trying to block all that out, but it's coming back. And then he gave me that whip, and and he made me beat these two guys with the whip.
Yeah.
And then I got beat with it for not beating them earlier.
Right.
So this guy, and then it was another time where he put me in a hot tub, like a scalding water of hot tub. And I had all types of, burns, not like where you could see them today, where they were
Right.
scars,
Right.
but mental scars, definitely.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think he was just trying to make you some hot tea, and you misunderstood. And you
Right.
got in.
That's
You
right.
weren't
You
supposed to
wanted
get in the tub. You were supposed to
a
put the
tub
tea
full
bag
of
down.
hot. And I was a tea bag.
It's like, listen, as long as you didn't get, I'm not even going to go with that joke. No, no way, no how.
Okay.
I was going to go bad. I'm not going bad.
All right. Well, go as deep as you
Yeah,
want.
go as bad as you want.
Yes.
What I'm trying to do with this, and look, I'm helping people directly. As you know, I've been financially investing my whole life. I've
Right.
trained that way. I've trained physically, and that's fine and dandy. But I think the emotional part, I call it the three pillars of fitness: physical, financial, emotional. I personally, they're all intertwined. They all affect each other.
Right.
But I think the emotional, I've seen it. The emotional, if not handled properly, negatively affects everything more than the other two combined.
Right.
I watched those who didn't manage their emotional issues. I knew how they grew up. I knew what they went through, and their investing was, let's say, chaotic at best.
Hmm.
Their physical fitness was chaotic at best because their social life was chaotic at best.
Right.
I always felt that the missing key when I was teaching people how to invest, physically training people, getting them in shape, the missing key was what we're carrying around and the silence, that we deal with so much pain in silence. Because I know growing up I was ashamed to tell anyone the truth. I was ashamed. I didn't want to bring shame to my family by saying what was going on. And
Right.
I want to apologize to everyone I grew up with. They all thought that I was every once in a while just bitter and angry and reclusive because of the accident I went through.
Right.
The vast
Well,
majority was actually started well before that.
and it's
And I
nice that
think,
you can finally admit that you're bitter and angry because, you know,
I got
it's
to
a
be
nice,
honest with you.
healthy place to come from.
Listen, I used to admit it, but I used to admit it while I was bitter and angry. I used to say, I'm really angry. I used
Right.
to,
Right.
so
Like
it's not
like a
fair that you're
5-year-old.
not
I
giving me
got you.
that
No,
credit.
I got you. I got you. I still do that. I'm still angry. I still do that every
You
day.
still, you still
Every
lose your
day I
shit.
have that. Yeah, I still every day by myself. Why can't I figure this out? Why
Hmm.
can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why, depression is really me. I got to meet with my therapist here in several minutes, and so
Yeah.
I mean, I got, again, so I got to go through all that again. I got a
Yep.
psychiatrist I go through it with.
Hmm.
My psychiatrist used to spend not even 5 minutes on the telehealth with me. Now, we're up to because I always have something going on that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
And it all comes back to, and I've seen this, I think you're managing it better than a certain loved one that is no longer here with me managed
right,
it. But in some instances, I see a similarity. It's up to you to admit that, and I had it too when I was younger, having difficulties with relationships of any kind.
oh my God, yeah, yeah.
And again, people who are listening, this is not a pity party. You
Well,
can't be in quiet. You can't be silent about it, at least to yourself. I'm not saying get on a podcast and tell the world. I never wanted to be on social media, but with what occurred over these last couple of years, as you know, we fought through disease and surprise disease, cancer, and the sudden loss of a loved one.
I'm sorry.
This is what I go
C
through with
words
this.
are funny, in comedy. That hard C is funny in comedy.
Yes, it is. Um,
So cancer,
it made me it made me
right?
want to do this. And I
Sure,
realized we were told when we were young, silence is strength. No, it's the exact opposite. Talking out loud, at least to
right,
yourself,
true,
is not the strength. And when Johnny was fighting cancer, the reason he's laughing about cancer is 3, 4, 5 days after he came out of the hospital, we made an hour's worth of cancer jokes that he took on the road and he was crushing with.
right, right. Yeah, and they're still doing well.
There you go. So,
Still doing well.
so there's something to be said about that, and realizing you can't fix something that doesn't want to be fixed, and that's included. In that is included people,
Right.
the
No,
people around you.
that's true. I mean, we're goofing around and stuff like that, but it's
Of
so
course, we
true.
have to.
So true. It's so true.
As a young kid, I kept thinking I could fix this, I could fix him, I could fix that, I could stop it. You can't. and you got to let
Right.
yourself go from that. But again, you do it no matter what age you're at. You got to deal with that crap. I call it, whatever it is. Deal with it, face it head on, so you can get to the point where, like, where I'm at, where I make fun of every single thing that ever bothers me.
Yeah. I avoided
Especially that,
everything. I avoided
huh?
everything. I avoided everything. You
Yeah,
know,
no,
like
it's not good.
you know, school. I avoided school. You know, I
Mhm.
missed like I don't even know how. I mean, I missed 3/4 of my senior year in high school. I barely graduated. I
Yeah.
went into the Navy, which was a great thing for me to go into the Navy because it was
Mhm.
structure. You know, you had to have. I mean, you couldn't not be somewhere. You know, I
Right.
mean, and even then, I still did that wrong at times. But I was in what's my captain and stuff like that was really a big fan of mine. My senior chief, who I was great friends with, and they took me under their wing. I mean, I was young. I guess they saw I had potential because they all wanted me to
Yeah.
stay in. But excuse me. But I avoided a lot of stuff. And the Navy was I don't know what I would be or where I would be. Maybe I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the Navy. At least going in for those 4
Mhm.
years of doing that. So, you know, that
I
was like a
think that
big deal for
the
me.
Navy, I think the Navy took you out of play long enough for you to have some semblance of a real life.
Right.
It took you out of play long enough, and I always say sometimes the toughest things in life that we face that we think, killed our opportunities, our saviors. I look back and I honestly look at the accident that I had, and it took me out of play. I mean, you can't
Right.
beat the crap out of a kid who can't walk, who's sitting on a couch because he
Right.
can't
Right.
walk.
Right.
Unfortunately, it didn't stop
Right.
things for others,
Right.
and I couldn't help. But to some degree, what we think killed us, killed opportunity,
Right.
destroyed us, actually saved us.
Right. But that's a
You
good
know,
Halloween costume for you, not being able to walk.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tape the couch around me.
Yeah, just like,
You know,
as the one just like,
what's that outfit where they walk around and it's like you got the half body underneath? Well, I'm gonna have a couch under me, and I'm
right,
gonna walk around with the couch.
and walk around. You're lazy. That's your Halloween costume.
Yeah,
Trick or treat.
I'm
What do you mean, little
lazy.
boy? I'm
Yeah,
lazy.
yeah, I'm lazy or back to being crippled.
I just could picture your legs like being like reverse, like your feet are right in back of you, and that you got hit by a car so bad that your whole body's twisted now.
Yeah, it turned around. My
Yes,
head
turn
is
around.
facing the other way. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
what I picture.
I saw two of my friends who were there when I grew up with. They were there when I
Right,
was rehabbing. They weren't there that day, but they were there. I just saw them when I went up to the Northeast visiting,
right,
and I haven't seen them in years. The first thing the two of them do is start making fun of me
right,
when I couldn't walk, and one time I fell.
right,
Trying to get out of the bathroom, I fell, and they came to run and help me, and I started cursing at them not to help me. They're
right.
imitating, making fun of that 13-year-old Phil, because there's that love that we have
Sure.
as
Yeah.
guys, and you would have been right there with them.
Right, right. I would have taken the help though. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I would like
yeah,
someone to help me.
yeah.
You
Well,
know, that would have
yeah.
been good.
I
That
got,
would have been good. I had my grandmother was my mother was great. My mother was great. My
that was
grandmother was great. My mother, my grandmother, because we all lived. There was like 13 of us, 13 or 14 of us living in one house, and my grandmother was great. Very, very strict, my grandmother. But again, I didn't. I was the favorite, so I got away with a lot of things I probably shouldn't have
yeah,
gotten away with. Never had to
yeah,
go to school. No one questioned me. The only thing my grandmother would ever say, "Why don't you quit and get a job?" And I said, oh, come on, Grandma, I just want to stay here with you. Oh, okay,
yeah,
stay here. Come on. What do
yeah,
you want to
yeah.
eat? What do you want to eat? You know,
Well, you were the favorite for the women. You
right.
were the least favorite for the men.
My God, the men hated me. My grandfather
I
and my
wonder
father and
why.
those guys, they hated me, man. They really did.
I honestly, I don't understand.
Just recently,
You're a
because
gem.
I never got it. I never got it with them. But
I think you should ask other men. You know,
yeah.
maybe you should ask other
What
men.
is it about me that men hate me?
You know what? I'm going to
I
make a
could never
list
be.
out
I
tonight.
could never go. I could never be homosexual because men hate me.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I
You
mean?
couldn't pull it off.
Could not pull it off.
You couldn't pull it off.
No, you're right.
It would take too much effort, and honestly, when it comes to relationships, you don't want to put that in. And I mean any
Listen.
relationship, friendship. You
Yeah,
could see he
yeah,
doesn't want to put it in.
yeah. It's tough. It's tough for me. I like to be a recluse, which I got to stop doing. I got to really stop doing that.
So,
That is not a good way to live.
well, yeah, you shouldn't be a recluse in the sense of always wanting that. But I do believe personal time, personal reflection is absolutely necessary. I
Sure.
do it every morning. I shut the phone off and just, I'm always up very early and I make
Right.
sure that I do it every morning. So I do think that's key. But in your instance, you get on stage, you do your show, you leave, no one sees you until the
Right.
next time you're on stage.
Right. Rich Scheidner calls it the prince and the POW. Talks about like the
I like
princes.
that.
The
I like that.
princes, they'll stay around after they get done. They stand on stage extra long,
Yes.
extra length of time, so people applaud them. They suck in the applause. And then the POWs are just like, let me get off stage before people realize I was a scam, a sham,
Right. I'm a
so
fraud. Yeah.
I'm a fraud. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that's where I think I fall into the POW. And I've tried to be the prince. It doesn't work. I've tried to suck in that thing. But the moment I feel like, oh, they're clapping or something, I got to get out of here. I got to get out. And
Yeah.
that's the same thing after the show too. After the show, I don't hang around a lot, and I probably
Yeah.
should. My therapist, we were talking about something the other day, and we'll probably get into it again today. But he was just trying to tell me, just like that movie, yes, just say yes. Just say yes to everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
have such a
Correct.
hard time saying yes to, such an avoidance thing in my life that saying yes, even doing this is tough for me,
Yeah.
which is weird because I ran my own show with my mother for 7 years. And, even that was a struggle at times to kind of, get it going. And, because I spent so much time writing, it was more aligned of a comedy show
It was.
that
It
I
was
did.
great.
Yeah. So I did, so I had to write monologues and, like come up with games at the end and all this stuff. It was, but, I was doing it with my mother. And so that was a good time and everything. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think, and I've seen it with me many years ago. I'm blessed to the point where I feel like I faced a lot of that many, many years ago, and we still have that voice. We all have that voice in our head, and I'll get to that too. But I feel like I kind of faced it many years ago, and I got past it. But still to this day, and I want those of you who are listening who feel this way to understand it's normal for us, but we're going to get past it. It is hard to take a compliment. It is
Oh my
hard
God. Very hard.
because we were so used to being told how worthless we were 24
Right.
hours a day, 7 days a week, and being treated in those ways. It's hard to
Right.
accept that any kind of beauty, any kind of happiness at times.
Right.
I feel like, again, I'm blessed that I faced it many, many years ago and I kind of pushed that away. But that voice always pops in our head. Now, all of us have that generic voice. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're no
Right.
good enough. Yeah. People in
Sure.
corporate America say they feel like it's imposter syndrome. They feel like they can't,
Right.
they're not good as everyone thinks they are or the
Right.
title they're getting. And we all face that generic one or
Right.
those generic ones, okay, to some degree.
Imposter syndrome, the poverty
Sure,
consciousness, all that stuff,
sure, sure.
all that
But
things.
I think those of us that go through intense trauma, whether it's physical, emotional, what have you, or even intense trauma in general life, it doesn't even have to come
Right.
from an individual who did it to us. I think we hear those specific voices, and I never even said this to my wife. Obviously, I wrote a book, that it's being edited.
Stop bragging.
I'm going to launch it soon. Is it bragging to tell the truth? I mean,
I don't know.
honestly,
I don't know.
I tell you what,
I,
start with writing a letter and I will brag about you. Okay.
I gotta write a letter. I can't. I've got so much to write too, and I can't do it.
I don't know. And I don't even mean a letter to someone. I mean one letter
Oh,
of
one
the
letter,
alphabet.
like
Just
like
write one letter and we'll brag about
an
you the
A.
whole show.
How about
Yeah.
a C? A C. I'll start off with a
Here we
joke,
go. We're
'cause
going back to
C's are
cancer.
funny.
Here we go.
That's right.
It's true though. You must have like there are voices, and one of the voices that used to just drive me nuts. And you're gonna love this. I woke up on a street
Right.
when this voice started, so you'll enjoy this. I was 13. It was extremely cold. My friends and I were hungry. We had ordered pizzas from the local pizzeria. That friends, a bunch of friends we had, their dad and mom owned the shop. We loved going there, and it was freezing, and my locker was around all the way on the other side of the school. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get the coat. Forget that. I'm not getting my coat. Let's go. I'll deal with the cold. Well, that day, that walk was when I got hit by the car.
Jace.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm
Better been
serving
some
you
good
up,
pizza.
dude. I'm
I hope it was
serving
good
you up.
pizza. I hope that pizza was good.
Well, I never got there. Okay.
You didn't get a
And
slice?
well,
No
you
one
want to
fed you a
laugh?
slice when you're on the street?
Yeah. No, I got
Horrible
sliced.
friends.
Okay.
You got
I got
sliced.
sliced.
You got
Okay.
sliced.
So I wake up in the street and I kid you not, 13 years old, the first thing that two things popped in my head. It's funny that you mentioned the pizza. And someone who's related to that family, I believe, follows me now. They may recognize the pizzeria's name. I'm not going to say it though. They'll
Right.
know who I'm talking about. I woke up and immediately I kept hearing, if you'd only gone back for your coat.
Right.
And that made me bitter for decades. That voice kept just nudging me, just sticking it to me. If you'd only gone back for your coat. If
Right.
if
Yeah.
I'd only gone back for my coat. And the second thing I thought of, because I was a decent kid, even though I was going through hell, I was a decent kid. The second thing I thought of was, oh God, we got to get to the pizzeria to pay for them. I felt so bad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
felt so bad because we knew them. I didn't want to not pay them. I really cared for the family. We loved the. We got to pay for the pizza. And my
Right.
brother ran from the home, standing over me, and I told him.
Right.
I said, "We got to pay Mr. So and So." And he's like, "Dude,
Right.
don't worry about it. Like, what the hell are you thinking about?"
See, and that's where, on the other hand, where with me, it's like, I've had, grew up with no money, so I would have liked the free pizza. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't get free pizza. I was in the street. So
Right. Right.
now you would have army crawled with your limp legs
To the free
to the
pizza.
pizzeria, and you would have and somehow you would have ditched without paying.
Right. Unbelievable.
Is there a voice that you hear? Now,
By the
we're
way,
gonna get rid of these voices that we all hear echoes. Oh, you're not good enough. You're not. Oh,
yeah,
this,
no,
that,
I
or-
hear all that. I hear all that all the time. I mean, every day. I mean, every day when I wake up, I wake up at 5 in the morning. I mean, I'm not going to say I stay up at 5. I'd like to start doing that, start staying up at 5 and trying to get some stuff done. But, I wake up and I'm like, what are you doing up? Nothing's going to happen for you. Why are you doing this? Why,
Right.
I mean, that's every day. I'm not
Why
kidding.
try?
Why try? Why bother? That's every
You
day.
belong in the closet with the pee again.
With the pee again. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you feel.
Listen, I get
That's
it.
how you feel.
I get it. So for those listening, understand, you're not nuts. You're
Right.
not, you're not crazy, because we think that. Now, for those who might get offended by those words, I'm talking about how we think to ourselves.
Right.
Okay. I'm not,
Right.
we're harsh on ourselves, and thank God I haven't been for many, many years, but we think to ourselves, oh, you're nuts. Oh, you're crazy. No,
Right.
you're not. Okay.
Right.
You're dealing with shit. You're dealing with stuff
Yeah.
that you shouldn't have had to deal
True.
with, and you're
And,
carrying it forward.
And I just checked. I'm gonna have to, jump here in a bit,
Okay.
Bill, because I got my therapist
Sure.
which I don't even feel like I should have to go. This has been like a good therapy
This has
session.
been fantastic. Fire up.
Yeah, it's done.
Go, Dr.
Done.
Seuss, you're out. Okay.
Say,
From this
Dr.
point
Seuss,
forward,
you're out.
From this point forward, the Grinch is in. You're out.
You're out, pal. No, but this has been
you know
good.
what? Give the last, give your last note, impression, thought, and we'll wrap it
Well,
up.
I mean, listen, I am not an expert on what to do. I'm struggling along every single day, but I mean, all I can do is just try to stay positive. And I mean, that's such a cliche. Stay positive.
but
stay positive.
True.
But,
Keep moving forward.
But I also realize what's going on, and just got to keep focused and just keep doing the best. Doing the best. I realize as a comic, I am a good comic. I'm not going to say I'm great or anything like that, but
you're actually a great comic. I can tell people right now, I will go on the record and say he's a great comic. And like anyone, when you go to work, some nights are harder than others.
Right.
And think about this. You're going to work, ladies and gentlemen, and you don't have to make people laugh.
Right.
He's going to work and he does.
Got to make people laugh.
And that's the most difficult thing in the world, to make a bunch of strangers laugh. You should go see him, by the way, Johnny Watson.
Sure.
Johnny, what's your do you have a website?
the realjohnnyWatson.com. It's
realjohnnyWatson.com. Look him up.
You might get on there right now. I got my guy from Pakistan is working on it right now.
That's fantastic. You're outsourcing American jobs.
I am out. I listen. You know what? You got to go where the discounts are.
I mean, look, folks, he tried. There was someone here who was going to charge. You were going to be charged $50 an hour or 5 cents a day.
5 cents.
You made the choice.
And he's great. And he's great. You know, I don't want to outsource. Listen, I want to go American.
Yeah, I do too. As long as you're willing to work 5 cents an hour, Johnny,
that's right. But you got to do what you got to do.
Listen, I think what we're saying here is he's willing to share his story. We're willing to say it out loud.
Right.
So you can say it out loud, at least to yourself, and
Sure.
realize it's not the end of the world. Deal with
Right.
it. We'll deal with it. And the next podcast I'm going to do, or at least maybe something on my own, I'm going to talk about the 3 pillars of fitness: physical,
Nice.
financial, and emotional fitness. But for now, I'm actually going to attach in the description, it's a happiness plan, I call it, a way to kind of pinpoint what's stressing you out and maybe pinpoint also the things that make you happy in life.
Sure.
Because sometimes we need to fill that space, that quiet, with something that makes us giggle. So
absolutely.
Johnny, I appreciate you coming on.
I got to say, my voice sounds great. I really like listening to myself.
I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm not that kind of guy either. Again, not that there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
But you know, there's a sultriness to it. Is that proper English? Sultriness?
I think I got it while I was talking through the door when I was locked in the closet.
Yeah, well, pee fumes will do that to you.
Yeah, well, I still got it.
On that note.
Yes, on that note.
Johnny Watson, thank you for coming on.
Phil, thank you for having me. We'll have to do this more often.
We will. We'll make it more regular, and God bless, my friend. We're getting there.
All right, man. We'll talk with you later on. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.